Hi guys, welcome to episode 2 of the Pettifoggers podcast. Each week we play a brand new game that we no doubt will have argued over, and this is our opportunity to share our thoughts on said game. Last week we played Payday 3 with our friend the Raven Paradox, and we embraced our inner bank robber. The game is the third rendition of the series and was released on the 21st of September. Ooh, facts. Lols, tell us about the game.
Yeah, it's a bank robber game, like you said. Team game. What did we do? There was different styles, so there was jewelry shops, banks. I don't know, you know it, and lots of guns and lots of police. That's about as much as I could probably tell you, to be honest.
Okay, apparently Lols wasn't there. Bells, tell us about the game.
So basically, you and your group of roughneck bank robbers have decided to go out and rob place. Think Piggy Blinders, but all full English accents and loving it. You are meant to do it in a stealthy fashion, super stealthy, super stealthy. Not even a trigger an alarm. Supposed to do it stealthy, but a certain individual in this group of this podcast does not believe in going in stealthy or reconnaissance, really. And completely disagrees with that part. But yeah, no, really, you're just heisting. You do heists in different locations, but it all comes down to getting the cheddar, the money, the moolah.
Yeah, so that's basically the premise of the game. Myself and Lols haven't really played a Payday before. Bells, am I right in thinking you've played the first two Paydays?
I played one, the very first one. Oh, and obviously there's been a margin of time since that was released, so it is different from what I played, but generally it's the same idea. You're trying to rob a bank, or an armored car. You're trying to rob a jewelry store, just different locations, and how you go about it is up to you, is the main point of the game.
So basically everything I said.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that was made sense when he said it. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It's a team of 4, or up to 4. I guess you can do it with less. And you just have to steal as much money or jewelry or whatever it is that you need to steal as possible. And there's different ways that you can do it, which is quite nice. It's quite nice to have flexibility in a game. I mean, we only did
flexibility. If you didn't just go, you shot every time.
Yeah.
Your mask was on so quick, like we barely loaded in, and you'd be like, "Ooh."
Says you. The one time we actually went stealth, and you threw a grenade by accident, Pals.
Like that can happen to anyone. That can happen to anyone. I feel like I just, preempted us getting caught. That was the one we lost.
Well. I was doing so well. I was halfway into the complex, whatever. I was sneaking around. I'd left all you 3 behind because I was like, fuck this. Yeah. And then suddenly I'm putting my mask on and I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, that was on me. I did throw a grenade. And there was like suspicion, like the suspicion markers being like, oh, something's going on. And I do hear a big boom. And I'm like, oh, God.
Anyway, guns blazing was so much more fun. It was much more enjoyable. Sneaking around is dull and for losers, which is why Lols only wanted to do that. But okay, let's get on to the sort of different aspects of the game. We said it's 4-player. We only played it as a team of 4. Well, actually, you guys played one without me because I was having a lot of technical difficulty.
But we did have a randomer, didn't we?
No, that was a bot. It was a bot. So basically, you have 6 characters. Each character has a name. When someone doesn't come in, like what happened with Pierce, was Pierce disconnected on the way in. Therefore, a bot is put in his place to run about with you. But a bot is a bot is a bot. And they pretty much looked at you like they don't really provide a lot other than they shoot at the police.
They revived me once. Thank you very much.
Well, once. I didn't even get
I'm
downed.
at one with the bots, clearly.
Big fan of the AI system that's coming in.
It probably we should probably mention that it's a pretty new game. It's been out for a few days, right, when we first played it. So there was a few sort of Like
There's a few.
bugs
There's
in the
bugs.
game. Yeah.
People phasing. I had NPCs, police NPCs phasing through walls on me on closed doors because apparently they're ghosts, really, but they're ghosts with guns. And it's quite shocking to find out behind you that you're getting shot in the back when you thought you had a door closed. And just like my thing is like when you're fighting like that, when you're fighting in a game like this, the one thing I know you're saying about like bugs and stuff, but my thing is like the guns feel a bit weak when you're shooting them. Like you're shooting a shotgun and it just doesn't feel like it does any damage unless you get a headshot with a shotgun. Obviously, the one thing we should state is when you first begin the robbery, the police will get stronger and stronger and stronger the longer you're in it. Yes, that makes more sense as you go along, but when in your first or second assault by the police, and you're going, firstly, it's mass murder when you start fighting people. It really is. The bodies pile up. It's ridiculous.
Unless you go in stealthy.
We
Where's
never
the
completed.
fun in
We
that?
never completed one stealthy mission.
No, someone always messed it up.
The
Never
tutorial does not prepare you. What did you use? Did you do the tutorial?
Yeah, I did the tutorials and
Yeah.
like I didn't have to do any of that stuff in the games that we played.
Not a bit of it. Not a bit of it was relevant at all.
No, and the tutorials were difficult as well. Like
Mhm.
you had to use a UV light on a keypad and figure out what buttons it was, but there was only 3 fingerprints, so one of the buttons had to be doubled, and I tried about 15 times to figure out the right. So it just annoyed me more than anything. The tutorial.
We should say as well, basically, the game modes, it's quote unquote game modes. It's really you just have one game mode you're trying to heist, but you've 7 different maps that you can choose from throughout the game. We done how many did we do 4 of the maps?
4 or 5. We
4 or
did.
5,
We did the one with the containers. We did the art gallery.
Yep.
We did that one where you have to move the truck, the jewelry store, and the bank. So we did 5.
Yeah.
So there is variety there, but I feel like if you're going to be a competitive, like I say competitive, I don't think there is a competitive side to Payday. But I don't know that. I can't speak to anyone if there is a competition side to it. But I feel like they can get repetitive, because you have to get money for everything to get cosmetics, guns, upgrades, as it would in any sort of game like that. But it feels like also, it just feels like you're constantly going to have to grind those same maps, and I feel like it can be very sameish very quickly.
I think there was 7 game maps in total. So we did the majority of them in the space of 2 hours.
I feel as though as soon as you've done like a guns blazing one on each map and then a sort of stealthy style one on each map, it's just going to get very, very samey after that.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much playability there's going to be to it. Luckily for us, it was on Game Pass, so we didn't have to pay the $34.99 that it is if you want to download it on Steam or on the Microsoft Store. But yeah, for me, I don't know how much replayability there's going to be. I don't know what the plans are for future DLC, whether they're going to bring out more maps or a different game mode or whatever. But it did seem as though, well, basically the game mode was you go in, get as much money as you can, come out, split the money, and then you can spend money on, as you said, cosmetics like masks and new guns and things. I don't think I had enough money in the 4 games that we played to buy anything. And
I didn't even get close to. I didn't even look at the customization. I just didn't even bother.
Yeah, but I feel like you'd have to play it a lot to be able to actually buy anything. And by that point, you're going to be bored of playing the game because you've done the 7 maps already in the sort of 2 styles that you can go about it.
There were some mechanics that we didn't use basically as well, though. The fact that you can quicken up people by holding the gun at them will make them go quicker. By restraining hostages, you keep them about. You can sell hostages to extend your time, say before a police raid begins, as well as you can exchange hostages for the likes of medical supplies and ammo. We didn't use that. 9 times out of 10, the hostages were killed very quickly, and there is a penalty for killing hostages in the game.
In what world are they going to exchange a hostage for ammo so you can shoot at them more?
Game
On-
logic, lol.
yeah.
Game logic.
On the
That's
mention
what
of
it is.
ammo as well, though, we
Yeah.
ran out of ammo so quick.
So much. But that's what I'm saying. The guns feel weak. The gun ammo that you have does not feel like it hits hard enough. So you're emptying. I know for a fact at a stage I had about 300 rounds of ammo for an M4, which is one of the base guns you get, and you tore for it, and you could tear for it in one assault game because it just, if you're not hitting headshots all the time, you're losing ammo because they're so heavily armed at stages, you know.
Yeah, even when I was hitting headshots, the police that came in, and it's just like a normal like helmet.
Yeah.
It'd take like 3 or 4 shots to kill them with headshots, and it was just like, yeah.
They do have the special police as well: the bulldozer, the shocker, the ninja. You know, your standard like payday, the payday like big officers, as it were. You know.
Yeah, there were like some big
So like a
tanks
little bit
came in
more
and
of
stuff, yeah.
a little bit more hassle for you to try and do.
And like the game modes itself, I remember maybe the bank and the jewelry one were pretty straightforward. You just get in and out with the stuff. Then you've got the one where you have to steal the vehicle, which was easy enough. And then go to the art one, and we couldn't work out what we were supposed to do. Like the puzzle, I suppose you call it a puzzle. The like what you had to solve was so complicated.
It comes back to the tutorial. You weren't expecting that when you're going into it. You know what I mean? Because do you know what? You can't progress the game. So say you're going in guns blazing. If you don't complete the objectives as they come along, which they don't give you a lot. Yes, I understand. A lot of people are going to say, "Oh well, you should just do more scouting then to figure out stuff." But there shouldn't be a penalisation for wanting to go in guns blazing every time. You know, if you don't want to spend time, because not everyone wants to spend all the time stealthing about, trying to avoid getting seen by cameras, guards, and the citizens, because they'll all rat on you. Our teammates. There should be a penalisation. We ran around for a good 10 to 15 minutes trying to find a USB that was in one of any locker to open a door to get a QR code that we could then steal a painting off the wall that was already opened. Like, Pierce, I believe you'd opened it. Then you couldn't take it off the wall without the USB.
Yeah, you needed a flash drive to take a painting off of a wall. And it was like, and the reason for that was because an alarm would go off, but we already had 50 SWAT team all, like, shooting at us inside the art gallery. So if I was in that situation, I think I'd go, an alarm's not really the most of my worries right now. I'll just take this painting and let the alarm go.
At that point, it becomes a smash and grab. It's not like finesse, isn't it?
I'm sure it was going to destroy the painting. It wasn't going to set an alarm. It was going to destroy the painting. But
I don't know. Nothing was clear in the game. Like the QR code, I didn't know how the QR codes worked. I didn't manage to get into any of those rooms. I think you guys had to open them. Like the tutorial, I don't think covered anything that we actually did in the game. Other than this is how you run. This is how you tie up a civilian. This is how you shoot a gun. Nothing else was covered. It didn't even tell me how to put ammo on the ground. I figured that out in our fourth and final game that we played. I realised I had an ammo pack I could drop. The tutorial really didn't cover enough at all.
You didn't have enough ammo. If you didn't
I didn't realise until the final game that I had an ammo pack.
Do you know, like, as well, you can only do, like, it only drops once. Obviously, you only have that drop once. But if you it only takes a clip at a time, so you have to press the interact button like 4 or 5 times to get out the full ammo. Yeah, if you click on it once, it's not like the likes of, say, Call of Duty or other games where if you click, it gives you a bundle of ammo. No, you have to click each individual time to get the ammo. I think out of all of them, even though we went guns blazing pretty much in every single one, the only one we failed was the container one, and that, I think it just came down to, there was just so many police.
Yeah.
You had to wait for stuff to go. There is a lot of waiting time when you're doing this game for the main objectives, especially if there's thermite in a map. A thermite in the map is just going to take so much time to do it, you know.
And then when especially you have to stand in those little circles as well. I didn't get that.
That wasn't on the tutorial. Like, there was so many things that happened that I was like, what are we doing here? And you just had to sort of figure it out as you went along. You may as well just not had a tutorial.
And you might be thinking, like listening to us like complain about the like lack of information. I'm telling no word of a lie. When it says that you're getting an objective, your objective hint is find the USB.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. That's
Anywhere
it.
in the
There's
map.
nothing else. Anywhere in the map, as you say, like
Yeah, there
absolutely
was like
wild.
And how
5 floors to this art museum. So get the flash drive. It's like, well, I'm looking in all like computers and things, and it was in like a hole in a wall which you
how
couldn't
on
actually
earth were we
see.
supposed to see that? I just accidentally looked down and saw like this
Yeah.
line, and I was like, how on earth were we ever going to know that was there?
Like I got one of the QR codes only because I went into a room because I had like a site on a med pack and started opening doors because why not? And then there's just a random phone that has a QR code to one of the extra
But
areas
none
where you
of the
get money.
phones are specific either, so you just have
No.
to, for every one phone, you can open one
Mhm.
door. It just didn't.
Yep.
I don't know whether I liked that. to be
I don't know
honest.
if this happened with you either, but I didn't pick up any phones on the floor. But sometimes I'd
Mhm.
look at a QR code thing, and it would give me the option to upload a QR code.
Mhm.
So
Maybe
I'd hold down X to do it, and then it would get like halfway and it'd disappear. So it'd bug out, and then I couldn't open the door. And I was just
Ah.
like, is this just, am I doing this right or not? And then I realised later on that I wasn't because I hadn't picked up any phones, but the game was
Right.
just bugging out on me. And yeah,
Which
so there was a few bugs that wound
Mhm.
me up, and I just don't think we were prepared to actually do anything because the tutorial was honestly pretty useless.
Yeah, I would say instead of like we can set the scene for the tutorial. The tutorial is you're in a random warehouse practicing for the heist, in which you get absolutely no evidence of the heist or anything. I think they should just run a tutorial like an actual game scenario because you'd have a
On one
far
of
better
the
chance.
levels, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like it runs you with a crew. One of the NPCs are running around saying, "You follow me, new guy." The way they do in other games, as you said, the tutorial really shows you how to reload, shoot, take a hostage, and all that is actually pretty self-explanatory. If you've ever played a shooter, you'll know how to shoot. You
Yeah.
know,
And there were actually, I only did the first tutorial to start with, and then I realised there was 3 more, and I did them as well, and they weren't helpful either. They were all, like I said, using the UV light on the keypad, which I didn't do at all after that. One was putting a little mini camera on something and looking through it. I didn't use that at all. I don't know where that would come in handy. Yeah,
do you
it
remember
was
us talking about stealth? Maybe then.
no, I don't remember that bit.
is this now a good time to admit that I didn't even realise there was multiple tutorials because I didn't finish the
say the
first
same
one.
Yeah.
I got bored of the tutorial.
I did the first tutorial and I was like, that's the tutorial done. And then later on, because my game crashed, I had a lot of technical difficulties with the game at the start. Again, we said it's a new game, so there's a few bugs. When you guys were playing the first mission without me, because I got kicked out of it basically,
Yeah.
I went back on, I was like, oh, I'll do a tutorial again and just check that the game's working. And then realised that there was 3 further tutorials after the first one. But you
Genuinely
complete
didn't know
that,
that.
you complete it, and it puts you back to the main menu, and you're like, "Well, I'm done."
Yeah.
But yeah, but I didn't learn anything from those 3 other tutorials that would have helped me in the actual game.
Madness.
It was. I have a pretty decent PC. Like it's not bad, it's not brilliant, but I had to put everything on low, including 30 frames per second, to even get the game remotely working. Now, in fairness, we were all streaming at the same time, which is obviously going to have an impact on it. But I don't ever have that much of a problem with a game as I did with that one.
Yeah, it was tough. Like you said, we've all got decent PCs. Like I've got a 3070 Ti graphics card, and I had to put everything down to 30 FPS and low or medium graphic settings.
See,
And
that's
But
interesting.
did the game crash you out, or was it just so? This you know, you've set your graphics card and stuff. Did the game crash you out, or was it just so because you did say
it
it was
was
so bad
unplayable.
FPS? Right,
Yeah,
unplayable.
everything was so unplayable that even when I turned it down to 30 FPS and low and everything, like my CPU was just running overtime trying to catch up with everything, that I had to restart the game and just close out of everything and restart.
Do you think it was your CPU? Because I have a worse graphic card than you do, and yet I managed to. I obviously had to turn everything down straight away, but I managed to run the game and stay in the first game. Whereas I don't know whether it's CPU heavy or.
I don't know, but
But it just might not be optimized. It just
yeah, I
it
was going to
might be
say
a
there's definitely
game.
some better optimization they can do.
Yeah, it's probably just like another game where it's a AAA title and they've thrown it out and it's not optimized. It's really just thrown to like quickly catch up, like get cash. And I guarantee if we played this game in another, couple months, say in 6 months' time, completely different game. You know what I mean? It just feels like it was thrown out, like all these big things and a lot of hype around it, about this game. And I generally just, I didn't feel it. I didn't feel the game at all.
Yeah, and I guess this sort of takes us on to the final questions. Like you said, then in 6 months' time, if we played it again, it might be fixed. Would you play it again? We've obviously had the first sort of experience playing it, and a lot of people are going to have done the same. Would you pick it back up again in 6 months' time, or next week, or whenever?
Probably not, because there's that much coming out now. You've got, I believe it's, like next month there's City Skylines 2. I'm going to be on that. I love that sort of game. I feel like there's going to just be, for me, you have to be a very dedicated. Like as I said, the last time I played a Payday was a Payday 1. So for me, I'm not a dedicated fan. I'm not like one of the core players, the player base when it comes to Payday. I feel like you have to try and capture that attention. And I think with the way some games are coming out now, if you don't capture that attention, I won't go back to it. If it's not on Game Pass, I'm not paying the price point of $34.99 to find out is this better now.
Yeah, Lars, what are you thinking?
I think I'd have to agree. I mean, I might play it again in a few months' time when I've forgotten what I was doing in the first place, but playability immediately, I think I'd just be bored. I think it would have to be a few months' time. They'd have to introduce more maps, more game modes for me to be remotely interested. But the fact that you have to play so often to even look at customizing your guns, I think that is where their downfall is. If they made guns and weapons and like grenades and stuff like that so much easier to unlock, and if they had so much of an impact on the gameplay that it felt different each time, like with Call of Duty, you use a different gun, you feel like each game is different. And if they did that and it was easier to do that, then maybe it would be more interesting to me. But I don't see myself playing anytime soon.
There's one thing we should say about the guns. The reason we're saying that about the guns is because all guns, it's a level-based unlock system. So certain guns are behind. You have to get to a certain level to unlock. There's certain mods that you can't get because you have to get to a certain level to unlock. So you can't customize a gun off the bat. Plus it costs $100,000 to get a shotgun. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess would I play it again? I think it's, as you mentioned earlier, it's a AAA title that feels like it's been rushed out, which happens all too often. Annoyingly, though, I think when we were playing it and we got past the issues and we were actually playing the game properly, I did really enjoy it. But because there was just this big negative side of it as well, where there were a lot of bugs and the game didn't feel optimized, I wouldn't go back to it. Maybe in 6 months' time, if I get bored and there's not much else to play, and as Lowell said, some stuff's come out for it, maybe some DLC. I might go back to it. If it was still on Game Pass, I absolutely would not pay £34.99 to download it.
But is it worth turning around, right, for a game brand new out, to turn around, say they turned around in like 2-3 months and said, we've DLC to go, you just have to pay another £10 to get that? Then why not have that in the game? Why not wait 2 months and then have that in the game? It comes down to it, they want more money to add into it.
I feel like they would only be able to do a free DLC on it. Yeah, I don't know what their plans are or whatever, but I absolutely wouldn't. I wouldn't put any money into this game if I was going to play it again.
No, you would have to be a hardcore fan, in my opinion.
Yeah, which I guess brings us on to the ratings out of 10. Bells, you went first last week, so we're going to make you go last this week. Lowes, we'll let you go first.
I'm gonna go quite low, to be honest. From playability perspective, I just don't see myself playing it again. The fact that we struggled to even get into the games to begin with, and I'll probably go for maybe a 3 or a 4 out of 10.
damning review.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
I would agree though. I did enjoy it when we got into it, but if you give me a week and I'll have forgotten about the game completely. It's one of those. So yeah, I'll go for a 4 out of 10 as well.
I'm literally. It's going to seem like there's a consensus going on here, but I'm in the same rage. I was going to give it 3 out of 10. As it's mainly because as I say, the guns don't feel strong enough when you're fighting, and as your enemy is getting stronger and stronger, it just feels like you're just knocking over bowling pins. You know what I mean? They're standing, then you're killing tens of hundreds of, like, it felt like we killed 100 in one raid. It felt like we killed over 100 police. You know what I mean? Like, because you kept coming at you, you kept fighting, but your gun never felt all that strong. You go through ammo like it's Tic Tacs, and then. Like, I forgot about. Do you know I genuinely forgot about how difficult it was to actually try and get our 4 group going?
Yeah. What I would say though is it's not awful. If you're listening to this and you were hoping to play it with your mates one night next week or whatever, it's still worth a play if you're on Game Pass. I wouldn't recommend spending 35 quid on it, but if you've got an evening to kill and you fancy giving it a go, it's still definitely worth a play.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think it's going to be one that stays around for a long time.
Okay. So is there anything either of you have played this week other than Payday?
I've mostly just been doing kind of nerdy little like Myrtles and Wordles, like, just puzzle games online. I haven't actually downloaded anything new or played anything new this week. I've just been solving some murders every day.
Piers?
Fair enough. I've still just been playing EAFC. I mean, we're recording this on Saturday. The full release for EAFC was yesterday, so I'm a week and a day ahead of everyone else, and I'm just smashing people online now. So yeah, basically just that. But as I said, yeah, it's Saturday, and we've got our community night games tonight, and I can't wait to get back on Party Animals again.
Yeah.
Oh mate, what about you, Bells?
Same. I've been trying out a few more games on Xbox Game Pass, as well as like my usual one that I always go on. So I tried out Lies of P, which is basically a Souls-like game for fighting. I now understand why people get so frustrated with a Souls game, because I got to the first boss and I spent about a good couple of hours trying to kill them, finally killed them, and I'm like, you know what, I'm done with this goddamn game. If that's the first boss, I'm out of this. It's much more enjoyable to watch other people play. And then I was also playing a Farming Simulator, which I just love because it's my Minecraft.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah. If you ever want help with farming sim, Bells is your man. But what about new games this week? Has anybody seen any new games that they're looking forward to? Obviously, Bells, you mentioned. Sorry.
Yeah, go on. Yeah. I was just going to say, I can see the list that you've written on the screen in front of me.
Stop. I mean, I didn't want to make the same mistake as last time.
I say the list. You've been very lazy again, and you've put 2 games down.
Well, to be fair, I looked at the list of like what is coming out in the next couple of weeks and months, and there's stuff that's being re-released on consoles and stuff. The one thing I'm looking forward to, now it's not in the next week, but as I say, City Skylines 2, I plan to be on that. I love the first one, so I'm really looking forward to the second one. So which is going to be on Game Pass as a first day release on Game Pass, if you don't know.
Yeah, and another game which I believe is first day release on Game Pass, which I didn't actually know was coming out next week until Lowe's wrote it on the Google Doc in front of us, was Forza, which I remember watching the Microsoft events that they do on YouTube where they tease all the new games, and the graphics on this Forza looked incredible. So I'm going to be downloading that and giving that a little play. I'm not a massive fan of racing games, but graphically it looks amazing. So
how many people can play Forza? Do you know?
I think you can get a few on there. I've only ever really played the Horizon Forzas. But yeah, I imagine you'd be able to get a handful of us on there and racing each other.
And when we were, that kind of brings me on to what we were looking at the other day as well. Did you know that Fable, whenever they decide to release that, we haven't got a release date yet, is from the same makers of Forza. So that is going to be
Lionhead Studios?
No, so I don't think Is it Lionheart or Lionhead? I don't think they're
Lionhead.
making the new Fable, right?
I don't know.
I might be wrong.
I just remember that. I remember them being the developer for
They
all
were
the
the
Fables,
ones, yeah.
and they done Black and White 2, one of my all-time favorite games.
Yeah.
I forgot about that game.
Good game.
Yeah. Maybe we need to
Yeah.
revisit some old games at some
Oh,
point.
that would be so good. I would definitely love to, especially after seeing Bells try out Heavy Rain. Being that's over 10 years old now. But that was really good. But yeah, that's definitely possibly a shout for us. We could try out and test out some of our old favourites. That would be fun.
Oh, I forgot that I played Heavy Rain this week.
You finished
Yeah,
it.
I messed it up so badly.
And Five Nights at Freddy's.
And Five Nights at Freddy's, and got the bad ending on that too.
Yeah. Oh, is that what it was? The bad ending.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I'll not spoil it for anyone, but it wasn't a great ending. It turns out there's other endings. I shouldn't have left.
Fair enough.
Uh-huh.
Right, so I think next week we are trying out Phasmophobia.
Yep.
We're
getting into the month of October now, and we're going for some scary games for a few weeks. Against the Halloween spirit. So yeah, Phasmophobia first up, and we'll see where we're at after that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
I know you two get scared of everything.
Yes.
That's
So,
you.
is there anything? You're coming to the end. Is there anything you want to plug? Your YouTubes for where that people can find the videos of the heist.
Yeah, we'll put that in the link in the description on the YouTube or whatever else we posted this on. Just look for it. Use your brain, you'll find us.
What he means is you'll find us on YouTube where we post our gameplay on a weekly basis, and you can see a bit of a summary of the games that we're playing, except for Bells, because
I'm in a battle with a Canadian kettlebell company. I will have this top spot, by God.
And on that, guys, we are going to sign off there.
Lols is going to do the classic weekly sign off.
Go on, Lols.
Go on, Lols.
Okay. All right then. Bye, guys.
All right then. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
We are
Lols, you've been workshopping this all week.
Okay.
You figured something out that's going to be.
If you stop talking, I might be able to actually do something.
Okay. Bit of silence.
We are the Pettifoggers. You've got Cheers for Peers, Bells of Steel, and Lollington X. And we'll be back again next week with a review of Phasmophobia. So we'll see you then. Bye, guys.
Bye. Wasn't a massive fan of that one either, Lars. Third time lucky next week, right?